Okay, looks like we're all live now, right? Actually, this countdown seems to be a little bit too slow or too fast. I don't know because I do not see the streaming here on the multiplex and streaming yet. So let's see if it's working. So hello everyone, so good to have you here. If you can see us, you can hear us. Can you please say something in the chat so just so you know things are working here. Um, depending on where we're transmitting here, it looks like we're still starting some of the streaming. So I'm just going to be here for a minute, right? Just to make sure that all the streamings are good and working. So we are having this 5 conversations, 5 lives this week to discuss about future, right? So that's in preparation for TDC Future. That's going to happen next week, right? So we're talking with coordinators and speakers of TDC to discuss the future, right? And so let me see here. There's some people say, so hey Mohammed, so that's good to see you here. Hello everyone, right? So something's working. We got one person at least. So I'm just gonna put here, yeah, say hello Mohammed. So hello everyone. That's good, awesome, right? So we should be we should be broadcasting this. So Ali is also here. So thanks a lot, Ali. So good to have you here. That's awesome. All right. So and looks like some of our stream are not gonna work, right? So maybe it's just my page is not refreshing. I don't know. So anyway, we're just gonna go whatever channels we're broadcasting right now. We're broadcasting to lots of different channels. So thanks everyone for being here and participating with us. And today we're gonna talk about the future of work, right? So just so you know, all the lives are available and you in the recording. Oh, I see the streaming right now, so it looks like everything's okay. Good. All right. Okay. So we're all the lives have been recorded. They're all on YouTube, and so you're gonna have access. You can see all that. There has been great discussions, great questions. So I want you to send us questions to us so we can have a conversation, right? So, okay. So without further ado, let me get our guest here today, right? So she is a coordinator of the testing track at TDC, right? And so she's also she's a test specialist, and she's been working with tests for a very very long time. Let me bring here Ariane Isaac. So hey Ariane, how you doing?
Hello, I'm fine. I'm so happy to stay here with us and talking about the testing, future of the testing.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, so testing is a very very important part of our work, right? And so let's discuss about the future of testing. And I'm happy to announce that our third guest has just arrived right on time, right? So that's very good. So he is a member of the CNCF, the Cloud Native Foundation, right? Where he discussed the future of clouds. He's a specialist in container and cloud native, and also the coordinator of the cloud track on TDC Future next week. So let's bring here Bill Mulligan. Hi Bill, how are you doing, man?
Good. How are you? I'm very excited to be here today.
Okay, that's awesome. So thanks a lot, Bill. So Bill's joining us right in the middle of his holiday. So thanks a lot, Bill, even for that. So thank you, Bill, and thank your family, right? Letting you
Yeah.
be here with us. Thanks a lot. And he is a specialist on artificial intelligence, so it can't be more features than that, I guess. And he's the coordinator of the artificial intelligence track on TDC next week, also coordinator of the London Java community. So let's bring here my good friend Mani Sarkar. Hey Mani, how you doing, man?
Going good. How are you, Bruno? Thank you for having me here. I just was able to join in on time. There was a little bit of an issue with Restream, wouldn't let me connect, but we are here now.
That's good, man.
Thank you, and great to see Ariane and Bill joining us, and of course you, Bruno. It's been nearly 5 days straight, I think.
Thanks,
Seeing
man.
you.
Yeah, Manny has been with us in almost every live this week. So thanks a lot, Manny. It's awesome.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, okay, we already have some interesting questions here from the audience, right? Nixon says, talk about the great resignation, right? So that might be an interesting topic for us to talk about. I'm just going to let you guys have an introduction before we actually get to these questions, right? And also Mohammed is asking if there's something related to, like, something like JUnit, right? So we're gonna talk about the future of work here, Mohammed, so we can talk about anything that you guys are want to discuss. So how about we start? Let me let Arianis breathe for a minute. So how about we start with you, Bill? You wanna just kind of say a quick hello and your ideas on the future of work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work at the Cloud Native Computing Foundation right now. We're a sub-foundation, the Linux Foundation, and we're a completely remote company. The Linux Foundation, I think, always have, and kind of the ethos of the open source ecosystem is not everybody's around one place, but we can all contribute from anywhere that we are on the globe. I think that really permeates into a lot of the work that we do here at the Linux Foundation. Beyond that, I've also actually never had an office job. I've only ever been a remote worker, and I think remote working is a big part about like the future of work, and I think it's how most of us will do it going forwards. And I think that's an exciting world to live in, because it allows us to connect and collaborate with people all around the globe. Right now, I'm talking to you from a different country than the conference is going to be in, and it's cool to connect with another community in a different country. And I think that is a future that I'm really excited about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Ariani, I know that you have something to say about the future of testing, but how about you just gonna like a little introduction here for us about what you think the future of work is gonna be?
Okay. I've worked with performance testing nowadays, and about the future of testing. First of all, it's important to talk is don't worry. I'm sure that tests won't die because it's very important to ensure the quality of your application, and we always talking about to improve it and to apply this improving our dev cycle. I believe that we create the future every day, and it's important to remind we need to do well basic things and thinking and testing using the better techniques and strategies and processes, but thinking in the future. Focus on testing. I think we talking so much about the automation testing. We talk just for this in nowadays, but we're talking more and apply more in our companies and improve it. And about the API and intelligence artificial to use more tools to help in our development software and use it to more practice more non-functional testing and to like performance and security and accessibility testing and work more IoT mobile and continuous apply DevOps.
That's great, Ariani. Thanks a lot. That's awesome, right? So yeah, there's gonna have lots of discussion about future of testing here, right? So okay, so how about you, Manny? What are you looking for in terms of the future of work?
So interesting. I mean, Bill and Ariani pretty much covered lots of the grounds that's already happening, and we are on the way of doing it. And in the times to come, they will be done in a more sophisticated and advanced way. So, I mean, today we are using Zoom or a platform like this to communicate with each other. But if you're familiar with the computer gaming industry, virtual reality and virtual reality kits, which is still not as advanced as we would like it to be. And if you've seen the movie Minority Report, that kind of gives us an idea of where things can be. It sounds a little bit future.
Stop.
Okay, so yeah, I think we lost Manny. Yes.
Penny to call a friend of mine anywhere on this planet, as long as they have internet connection, as long as they have WhatsApp or Telegram or anything that is voice over IP, right? Even your home phone can be voice over IP enabled, that you pay the minimum that you want to contact somebody on the other part of the planet. The next advancements was video, right? Something like this 10 years ago, we would not think like, you could video chat with somebody and it wouldn't cost you a dime and you would get real-time quality, right? 20 years ago, we were worried about those 56 kbps modems that would, just, stop at a certain speed, and then that was the maximum. Today, we don't have that problem. So our next paradigm shift is getting closer. And the getting closer is not just the visual and the audio, but also now it'll come to more like feeling in the presence of other people. And how would we do that? We would have sensors, we would have devices we would be wearing. Maybe the clothes that we wear, or the gloves that we wear, or the headset we wear has got those sensory perceptions, and and then using that, it will perceive the real world. And that would bring us back to the same thing that we have been doing 40 years ago, when automation wasn't a big deal, automation wasn't important, and working together collaboratively wasn't done. That's where I see things going. So if you watch the movie Minority Report, that's a sophisticated version of where we are going to head, or whatever, 10 years from now, 5 years from now. Some people are probably already doing it.
Okay, that's awesome. And actually, we got our last guest here has just arrived, so right on time for his introduction, right? So he's an Agile expert and founder of Mindset Agile, and he's a coordinator of the diversity diversity and accessibility track on TDC, right? So let's bring here Felipe Oliveira. Hi, Felipe. How are you doing, man?
Hello, hello, hello. Sorry for the delay.
No problem. Just go ahead and tell us. You're going to be doing the accessibility track and diversity track next week, right? So, what is the future of work on that from that regard?
Well, hello everybody. Hello Manny. Hello Ariane. Hello Bill. Well, when we're talking about future of work, it's quite difficult to talk about it because we have different aspects, and COVID and coronavirus has shown us what remote work can do, right? But along with remote work, we emerge with different kind of problems, right? That we might not notice that they already happened before, but it kind of put it in the spot. But for example, if we're talking about people with special needs, blind people, deaf people, in the past, in an in-person kind of job, in an office kind of job, we would have to deal with their needs. But what about in remote work? How can we set up a specific kind of computer and with specific software that can provide people all of what they need to work, right? If we have, for example, a deaf person, how will they work in a remote environment? That's something that we have to think, right? And when we're talking about remote work, it's not just people that are at home. It's everywhere. You can work now from everywhere at any time. So how those people can deal with that? How blind people can work in in-person office and in a remote office? That's something to consider. And we're talking, I don't know, Wednesday, right, about neurodiverse people. So how can we improve their experience and the way they talk and the way they act with people and the way they develop their skills in a remote kind of world? Also, acquiring knowledge is quite different, right? Because if you wanted to acquire knowledge 50 years ago, you would have to go to a library and study. Now we just need to access Google and ask something or buy an online course. But what about 10 years from now, 50 years from now, if you're talking about Minority Report and iRobot and, and those kind of stuff? Some people talk about, I don't know, I like to talk about Matrix, how you have a specific computer in your brain and just upload knowledge. Of course, we're talking about science fiction here, but we have to consider all these aspects, about people with special needs, people with neurodiversity, and also people that have social needs, right? For example, people from specific regions that have specific needs, people from poor countries or poor regions. How can we bring them to the future? Because for some of them, the future is not now. For some of them, the future is 1, 2, 5 years ago. For some people, what we have now, they are starting to know about. So it's a different perspective for all of us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so look, I just want you guys to ask questions, right? So everyone that's watching us, please send your questions about the future of work, about the future of technology. Mohammed's already saying something here. We're gonna talk about those things. And so just before we actually get started to all the discussion here, I just want to thank everyone that's broadcasting, right? Our signal, right? So, first of all, the developers conference is broadcasting our signal in their channels. Like also to thank Eyal Eyal Willenreer and Mary Gringowski when they're broadcasting to their personal channels. Like to thank Manny Sarkar that's here with us. That's also broadcasting his channels. Also Felipe Oliveira that's also here with us. That's broadcasting his channel. So thanks everyone. So if you're part of any of those communities, right? We're broadcasting all those places, right? Also Gabriel on his Java Journey channel. So thanks a lot, Gabriel. And who else? And then, of course, if you're participating here and you're actually watching on my community, my channels, thanks everyone. We're broadcast to all those places. Thanks a lot. And so one thing that Felipe was talking about is the whole notion about the future, right? And it's funny that for me, I work fully remote, right? So maybe Bill's also Bill's talking about working fully remote. I work fully remote since 1998, right? And so if you and I'm sure I'm not the first person that works fully remote, right? And so if you think about the pandemic, right? There are people that never had an opportunity to work remotely, and so companies move it. From my perspective, right? Companies move it 20 years in the future in a week, right? In a month, right? So, and they catch up with me, right? In a way. So, and I think that's probably one of the problems with when we think about the future, right? It's because we can see what other people are doing, and they are the future for us. They were not doing that yet, right? And so I think that's an interesting thing for us to be thinking about. And so, look, I have lots of questions about the future, but I think that's one interesting one that who was that? There was oh man, too many questions right here. So that Nixon Denise asking about the Great Resignation, right? So is that are you guys seeing like people kind of choosing what job they're gonna work on, or they're leaving boring projects, they're not working on this? What do you think, Bill? You're seeing this in your area. What do you think about the Great Resignation? Is that something really happening?
Oh yeah, I see it everywhere right now, especially in cloud native. I think the market is so hot, like people are switching jobs all the time. I've even heard of it's so hard to recruit people right now that recruiters have come in and say, whatever your pay slip is, I can pay you twice as much. So, I mean, sometimes it's just pay, sometimes people are bored with their job, and it's just a hot hiring market right now. So I think in the tech industry right now, the Great Resignation is absolutely a thing, and it's driven by a bunch of factors.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have experience with the Great Resignation at all?
So I've been reading about people who are investing in cryptocurrencies, for example. I don't know if that's the experience and the message everybody else is hearing, because they're able to accumulate wealth in such short periods of time that they actually are resigning because they can make more money investing in cryptocurrency and doing nothing much, just buy and hodl, as they say, and then sit on it for a couple of years, and then that multiplies into whatever it multiplies, and then that replaces the salary slips they would get every month. Again, although we need to be careful here, because these are short-term, let's say, opportunities that come in, and they may not be long-term and they may not last. So there is that risk as well. So the Great Resignation can also fall on the faces of those who are not careful. And you can't be reckless, and these are all cycles. You need to watch the cycles. There are some cycles that constantly keep expanding. Like, for example, if you observe the Dow Jones, if you take the 180 years of Dow Jones history of the prices, and the Dow Jones index has always risen and fallen and risen and fallen, but over the 180 years or more, it has always been on an uptrend. And today it is at the highest it has been in the last 180 years. But if you multiply the percentage, it's in terms of 50,000% or something like that. I have the numbers somewhere. But those are cycles that are a lot more reliable, right? And you can bet on them, and you can use that information to make your decisions. But cycle like the cryptocurrency cycle, and again, I'm not talking for or against it, but if you look at it objectively, those are risky decisions you're making. So the Great Resignation sounds like a little bit of a rebellious action, right? If you agree with me, like who resigns? It's a little bit of an ego show as well, right? Oh, I don't need your job, I can do better than you. That's the resignation attitude, right? So, and if everybody gets onto that, now it could be it's the right thing they're doing, and they might hit a windfall after with that. But it also could be that it's herd mentality that might drive them into a sudden plunge downwards. And
Wow.
depending on where we are in our careers, those are risky decisions to take. So it's my
Yeah.
objective view of it. If somebody wants to do the Great Resignation and they are planned for the next 20 years and they have their pensions and everything in place, please go ahead and do it, right? But if you're not in the position, you just made a little bit of fortune from XYZ, of course through legitimate means, then you want to be careful, because you want to see in the next 20 years that cycle might not be there, whereas the Dow Jones index cycle constantly keeps expanding.
And there's an interesting thing. I was talking to a guy yesterday that he is 14 years in the same company, and he loves his company. He's doing great work, and he's like, should I leave? Right? Do I have to leave for my company? Right? Like, no, man, you're doing it great, right? So, so Ariane, you're the only Brazilian here. Are you seeing difficulty in hiring people in your area, in your company those days?
And I had experience about it to work for a long time in a company, and for me that that situation was good in the start point, because I learned so much, and I could to apply a lot of things. But I think about this issue, we need to think, and we need to do the occupation that we passionate about it. So, for example, I love testing software, and I love performance testing software. So, if I love this, I am passionate about this. I doing this well. So it's the first and million step to see when you are occupying the position. And
Yeah.
I changed the job in the pandemic. In the beginning is difficult, because you need to know the person, the way like they work, but it's a great experience.
Yes, I did say that you're the only Brazilian, but actually me and Felipe are also Brazilian. But I was thinking about something else. But but Felipe, you're the owner of a company, right? So how about you? Are you seeing this kind of thing in difficulty in hiring people, or people in your company leaving?
Well, we have different aspects when we talk about resignation, right?
Mhm.
Because the subject, the Great Resignation, I think. Well, I have a view of the world that everything, not everything, but lots of things always repeat themselves, right? Empires come and go, and people leaving, people getting out, and pandemics, everything kind of repeats itself. In a more sophisticated and a more complex way, but we can see patterns along the way. But I think COVID showed the modern world a few things that we kind of didn't notice before, or we just didn't care. For example, how our health is important for in different aspects, our psychological health, our physical health, and lots of people are kind of quitting their jobs because their companies don't protect them. I've seen that happen. I was working with a company, and they've lost during this year more than 50 people alone. They have, I don't know, 250 employees total. They lost 50. So
That's
Yeah,
that's 20%. That's 20% of the workforce.
in
yeah,
less than a year.
But
So
losing 50 people even for a big company is already hard enough, right?
whoa,
You
losing
lose-
losing 5 people sometimes, depending on what positions they are in, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
imagine the kind of problem. So there's an aspect. There's another aspect, because people are starting to notice that they can kind of work with something else. But there's a risk, as many told us before. There's a risk. For example, I could leave any kind of job that I want, but what kind of risk and consequences do I face after that? Because I need to have, I don't know, a little bit of money in the bank to live without it, because things might get messy and I might have to look for a job again. So that's another thing. So and one of the main reasons when we're talking about the great resignation is about attrition, right? Why people are leaving. Sometimes we have to ask why people are staying in the company. Why Bruno stay in the company that he works for? Why Ariane stays in the company that she works for? And that kind of question, I think it's kind of difficult for companies nowadays, because there's always an outside error. There's always an outside reason. Oh, the salaries are going up. Oh, it's the market. It's all the companies are getting nuts. They're getting money from investors, and we are a solid company. They are not. They have a high risk. So instead of looking inside of their environment and trying to ask themselves why people are staying here, how can I provide them a better environment so they won't leave? So I think that the great resignation showed the companies some of their true faces, some of their true behaviors. So if you ask, for example, 1 year and a half ago, I was with a company and they asked me if I wanted to go to the office. I said, hell no. Why not? If we tell you to go, you will go. No, I won't go. It's my choice. It's my life. You can't say that. So I think many people kind of set their minds to it. So I think several companies have shown their real faces, their true faces during COVID. So that's the consequence.
So I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah, so we have some questions here from Christine. So hey, Christine, how are you doing there? And so she's talking about so many looking for other jobs, right? And many companies are having difficulty to find work, right? So where are all those people going, right? And so she says that what I'm seeing is that people want to go into technology because they can work remote and make more money, right? So you think that technology can really absorb all those people that they're leaving all those places, and can we all move into technology, right? Bill, that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to go everything cloud native and everything cloud, right? So are we gonna absorb all those people here into technology world?
Yeah, I absolutely believe we are. Like, if you look, it's such a hot labor market right now in technology because there simply are just not enough people to do all the jobs that need to happen. Um, I think in the very short term, we're going to see a bit of a crunch, obviously, because if everybody's trying to go in, there's a skills gap between what people want and where people are. But as more people enter the industry and more people get trained up and have experience, I think there's definitely space for all of them. I'd like to tell you, or if anybody can tell me one company right now that says they have too many people working in their IT department. Like, I can't think of any, right? We need to hire more people. We're running out of people. We need to be able to do more, whether it's, the digital transformation or moving to the cloud or growing the digital side of our business. Like, there's always a demand for that right now. And I think anybody that wants to go into tech is going to be able to find a position. Now, I think the hard thing is really going to be covering that skills gap. Is as people come into the industry, how can we get them trained up to roles that companies actually need? How can we make sure there's onboarding ramps for people to get into new technologies, to get into even cloud native and things like that? And I think that's the big challenge that we have right now as an industry. If we really want to shape and help people get into technology careers and really shape the future of work in our industry.
Right. Actually, there's one question that I have is that, are there so many open positions because we are hiring a lot more people, or because there's so few people in this area, right, that we cannot fill the. So I'm not sure there's an answer for that, right? But I think that's when you mention the skill gap, there is a small percentage of people in the world that actually have the skills that those companies are needing, right? So the positions are there, but then if there's no one to fill it out, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone want to comment anything on that? So I think that's Manny
Well,
drop and come back here. Okay,
I think when we talk about skills, I think we are living kind of a paradox, and that paradox is going to grow. Okay, and the main paradox is we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds openings, job offers, and we have hundreds and thousands of people unemployed. It's kind of a paradox.
right.
And but what the hell is happening? What is happening that people aren't getting those jobs? Well, there's a skill gap, right? And how many people are actually finishing their high school or their colleges? Leaving university right now. I don't know, maybe hundreds, thousands. What skills they have that we can all accomplish here? So that gap is something we need to address, and that's a simple word that can kind of solve it, or at least address the problem. That it is education. So education is a main issue because we have a lot of unemployed people that don't have skills necessary for companies like PicPay or Nubank or any kind of tech company, and we have lots of job offers asking for those skills. So we have to try to connect those people that don't have those skills and provide them with the necessary resources to do that. And when we talk about how many job offers do we actually have, well, and according to the question that I think Kristen made about job roles that don't exist, right? I said that everything adapts. So we have, for example, companies that are dealing with AI. So I think we are already discussing about it, but a few years from now, we're starting to discuss in a more serious way about metaverse, about AI ethics, how a machine will behave when talking to people, when dealing with people. And when we are talking about science fiction, we can also connect with iRobot and the three laws of robotics and stuff like that. But these are jobs that don't exist, kind of don't exist yet. And they are going to need something like that. And everything that is going on with technology that we are seeing, I don't know, in movies or in documentaries, that things that only exist inside of a lab. We need, for example, there are cars that we need to drive right now that we want to drive that are fully automated. What about the people that need to learn to work with that? How many people know how to work with an automated vehicle? How many people know how to work, or how to fix, and how to program an automated vehicle? In Brazil, for example, how many people? Right. So there are new roles and new skills that we're going to have to acquire. Even us, for example, I never worked with so close with technology. I'm not a developer. I'm not a data analyst. I'm nothing like that. I'm not a technical person, but probably I'll have to be a few years from now because we are starting to become a tech world, a complete tech world. Companies that would not be tech company before 10 years ago or 15 years ago, 20 years ago, now they need to acquire that. They need to be part of that world because if don't, they'll be forgotten.
Yeah, right. So I have a question here from Ali, and I think he specifically, maybe Ali is just a friend of mine, and I asked him to ask this question because he got everyone on the same question, right? So, he says, how do you advise someone who wants to master development, DevOps, cloud, and AI? I think the only thing missing there to get all of us would be agile, right? So let's put agile in the question too, right? So
the answer is easy, Bruno. They got to watch the last 4 days of 1 hour talks that Bruno organized. I wasn't there on one of the days, but it doesn't matter. There were fantastic other people out there in the other 4 days.
Right.
We don't need to discuss that anymore. We've already been talking about that the last 4 days.
Right. Yeah,
but yes, for the benefit of him, I think we have the two other guests who haven't spoken about that topic. I know Felipe has already contributed, but yes, Felipe should also contribute. But I would say Bill and Ariane should take the stage and share with us what they would do to answer some or all of the points in that question.
Right. Do you start, Ariane? So what would you do to learn all those things, right? Development, DevOps, testing, cloud, AI, Is that feasible?
Um, I think to do well, great. It's not possible, but you can be curious and to learn about things to improve your routine in your job. And it's important to know about these issues to discuss each other to know about these topics. But you need to know you don't crazy about it to learn and to know well everything. It's not possible, but you need to find to learn the basic about these topics.
Yeah, that's very right. Right. So you need to do your work well, right? And so all those things are going to be necessary for you to even do your work, right? So a little bit of that you have to understand. So Philippe was saying here on the private chat that don't sleep, right? So what do you think, Bill? You're part of the clouds movement, right? So do you think the cloud is like a fundamental skill that we have to have no matter what?
Yeah, so I think that list is great, and it's, as we were kind of joking about earlier, it lists everything that you can possibly do, and I think that's not possible. As we said, you'd have to like not sleep to be able to do that. And so what I usually recommend people that are getting into it is, pick just one of those things that you're really interested in and start learning about one thing and really focus on that for a while. And you'll find out a little bit about what you're interested, what you're not interested, and you can kind of find your own learning path through there. If you try to do all of them at once, you'll be spread too thin. You won't get anywhere. You won't kind of like feel that success of, like, oh, I learned this thing and now I know how to, I don't know, like analyze a data set or build a website. You never kind of get that like sense of accomplishment. So what my recommendation would be to pick one thing, start working on it, really dive deeper into one thing. And if you like it, like keep on going. If you don't, as we said before, there's so many other things to do, like just switch to something else. But it's the most important part is just to pick one thing and go for that. Like a really good example that we have for that, like in the cloud native world, is just recently we launched a Kubernetes and cloud native associate like certification for people that are just starting out in their careers. And so, for example, somebody that wants to get into cloud native, we have a class around that. We have a certification, and that's kind of the first step to like learn the basics about the industry. And that's one thing that they could do. And once you get that certification, then you could be like, oh, I really like these topics. I think cloud native is interesting, and I'll keep going. And there's other certifications that CNCF offers, or that other cloud providers offers, or I don't think cloud native is that interesting. So maybe I'll go look at AI or data analysis or web development. There's lots of other things to do, but I would say pick one thing and really dive into it. And the only way you can start is by starting.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring back the discussion to the future of work because I think what you guys talk about skills really hit a nerve on lots of people are coming here. But before I do that, let me quickly just kind of talk a little bit about TDC next week, right? So I'd like to invite all of you to participate in the developers conference next week. Remember that a big part of the event is completely free, right? So if you're watching this here, no matter where you are, it's fully remote, fully online, so you can just participate. So if you come, let me just kind of first put so I'm going to put here on the chat, on the screen, the URL, ddevconf.com. So you can come to this URL. I just want to walk you through a little bit because, for people that don't speak Portuguese, I just want to make sure that you know where to go, right? So if you go to ddevconf.com, you're gonna get to this page here, and this is the fourth TDC of the year. This last one, right, is gonna happen next week, 30th of November to 2 of December. And so you click here on this purple box, and it's going to take you to an overview of everything that's going to happen on TDC next week, right? So I know you can see register for free here, but don't click that button. It's going to take you to the wrong place. We're going to have an awesome pre-show on Monday with Mary and Ton Popendiak, right? They are awesome, right? You really should come and participate. They have amazing ideas. They're going to talk about the future, right? The future of technology. So, but anyway, that's going to be Monday nights, right, for Brazil. So you just kind of keep scrolling a little bit because we have the events both Portuguese and English. So here are the English track, the Connect Pass. those are all the English tracks you have access here. So Ariane is running the testing track. And Manny is running the artificial intelligence track. Bill is running the cloud and DevOps tracks. Philippe is running the accessibility and diversity track. I'm gonna be here in the career track. So we're all gonna be here next week, right? So hope to see you here. You scroll down a little bit more, and you're gonna see here this orange button, Rationale International. That's where you have to go, right? So come here to the Rationale International event. And so you click here, and that way you're gonna fall into the page for you to register for the international event. Okay. So and here, it's gonna have this part here. You see the basic pass is fully free, right? So you can just come here and choose that and register for it, and then check out. But if you want to go through, right, you can, for $80 you can have access to all the international tracks. Or you can just kind of choose one of the tracks if you want to, right? But, join us on the basic pass at least, and we're going to have an amazing discussion next week, right? So, okay, so let me get back here to the discussion that we're having here in terms of companies and Great Resignation, the skills gap, because I think we have two awesome comments here. One from Mohammed. He says, in my point of view, companies should not be looking only for people who have many years of experience, right? They should train talented ones to replace the leaving employees, right? That's a very, very good point from Mohammed. And then Blanner talks about similar things. He says, but don't companies also ask for a lot of skills, right? So you get a job, you have this big list of things. And one thing that really bothers me is not the big list of skills, right? Is that once they hire that person, they
expect you to do all of that.
Right? so the big list of skills is completely useless because actually the person not even gonna do any of that, right? So he says, so the reason for this gap is difficult to fill, right? Would a professional have to learn everything and still work at the same time? So so let me start with you, Ariane. What do you think, right? Do you think that companies are actually asking too many skills and everything? Do you have to have all those skills to get a job?
I think that we never use it all. And I remember one advice about this topic. It's participated the conference, so TDC is coming. And in past, I did so much this. I participated the track that I wanna to know more information about the topic, and I exchanged the idea. It's a person to know about it. It's for good I had a lot of insights to search more information or doing the course. It's good to talking about it to have a direction to find more information. It's very good to talking to each other about it. Participate the conference and communities meetups.
Awesome. Yes, participate in communities like CNCF, for example, right? So that's a great thing to do, and the London Java community, and awesome. But join TDC next week. So Bill, one thing that CNCF is actually part of the solution and this problem, right? Because you guys have certifications that people have to pass the certification and they get hired, right? So how do you see this skill gap, or is that something that companies are really asking for too much things?
Yeah, I mean, I think a typical example we see in the cloud native ecosystem is companies hiring for people with 12 years of experience for Kubernetes, even though Kubernetes has only been around for 7 years. So companies a lot of times are asking for things that don't even exist. You don't have anybody with 12 years of Kubernetes experience because there's nobody that has that.
Right.
Yes. I think one of the things that I recommend to people is, even if you don't 100% match all the job qualifications, even if you match 30 or 50%, you should still apply. I think we were talking about before, in technology, there's such a shortage of people that people are willing to hire people with not as much experience. I think a lot of people read through job descriptions and say I don't have every single one of the things listed, especially if you're new into the industry and you think I need to have all this knowledge before I can really have a job and start contributing to a company. But I don't think that's always true. And I think you can provide a lot of value to a company, even if you've just gone through a boot camp. I know a lot of people in the cloud native industry that just started out with a boot camp course and then, got their first job and have become some of the mainstays of our community. So I think even that's a really great way to get started. And so I think you should think about, yes, employers, I think, are asking for too much on like job applications, but like apply anyways, like put yourself out there. I think, there's only, people can only say no if you don't apply, and they can only say yes if you apply. So I would encourage people to like put themselves out there. And the other thing is to, go out to different events and network with people. Like I've gotten all of my jobs like through talking with people and networking, not actually applying to things. So go on to the community. Coming from CNCF, I love talking about the community and other people that you can meet in there. Actually, next month we'll be hosting a Kubernetes Community Day Brazil event. It'll be a virtual event where you can meet lots of people in the cloud native industry. So I encourage you to attend that. But put yourself out there, and I don't know, there's like the cheesy quote, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you're not fully qualified, go for it.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important, right? So I actually think that a lot of companies put a lot of things as a way to filter out people, right? They don't have enough courage to apply, right? And so I do think that you should apply. Actually, I was with my mentees yesterday, and that's exactly what I told to one of my mentees, because he has this job, and I think, man, you can totally do this job. I know, because I know the company's hiring you. You can totally do this job. I don't know why they're asking so many things on the because I know what the job is, right? So I told him, so he can totally do that. And just like a quick comment on the last thing that Bill said, about getting jobs through conversation, right? So I actually wrote a book, right? It's right here, the best developer job ever, right? So I gotta say this on that point, because that's exactly what I explained to you guys, how to get the best jobs, and a lot of times it's not applying to jobs, right? So take a look at this book, the best developer job ever. It's exactly discuss this thing that Bill's talking about, right? So how about you, Felipe? Are you are you seeing this? You talk to a lot of people, and you have like consulting. So are you seeing this level of people asking too much skills and for any job that for your customers and your companies?
I think there's some kind of two-side conversation, right? Because in one side we have employers asking sometimes a lot of skills, and sometimes not just enough. For example, I've interviewed lots of people this year, and if you see the job description, it's quite small. We have a few specific skills like Kanban, like Scrum, like flow metrics, like portfolio management skills, and mainly that's about it. So, and I think there are a lot of people that actually ask those kind of information, probably to spook people out. There's a one perspective. There's another perspective that I think it's quite coherent with that. It's sometimes the person that writes the job description doesn't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right, that's true.
For example, I don't know if you ever tried to perform an public service tender, an exam, right? And if you see all the information that you need to have to perform the exam, that's bunkers, it's impossible to do that. You have to know the description is insane. You have to know specific advanced computing about Windows and about Linux and about Java and C#, and then the person that wrote that doesn't know what the hell they were writing about. So sometimes job descriptions are written by people that don't know what the hell they're talking about. I once, for example, I've subscribed to a job offer for an it's a technical or a specialist consultant for Jira, right? For an Atlassian product, and the person, the HR person started to ask me, "Oh, do you know about Agile? Do you know about Scrum? Yeah. Do you work with Jira, cloud service or server? Oh, it's cloud. Okay. And you know about Java, right? And you go, no, I don't know about Java. Well, it's a consultant. Okay, but the job description doesn't tell me that. And I had to go to another city to know that I wasn't getting the job because of that job description. So sometimes people that are writing those things, they don't know what the hell they are talking about because they are not technical people, right? That's another issue. Also, there of course there are, and there's a kind of a paradox because sometimes companies ask for a full list of skills, but they are not actually willing to pay for it.
Right.
So I need you to be a specialist with cloud computing. I need you to know about how to use React or Blazor or any kind of other framework. But yeah, I'm going to pay you the same thing that a junior position pays.
Right.
So that's kind of incoherent, Some companies are like that, and I've been to companies like that, and you see the salary, but this is not a senior salary. This is a junior salary, and that's kind of also an issue. Of course, there are lots of people that think they have the skill they don't have. Of course, there are people that when you're going to talk with them, they show they don't know what the hell they've shown in the CV. You have people that lie on CV. Okay, that can happen, but I think we should reconsider how we are describing things and who is describing those job descriptions, because by the end we need people, and sometimes those skills can be developed, sometimes those skills can be provided in a simpler way. We have lots of people getting out of college right now. We have lots of people that have over 40 or 50 or even 60 years old that want a job. They want to know about technology. I've interviewed people with more than 55 years old, and they told me, man, I need a job. Not just because I need the money, but because I want to work with a tech company. So sometimes we have to be more flexible about it. Of course, when we need a specialist, okay, get a specialist and pay him for it, or her, or they. But diversity, accessibility. But sometimes we actually need to provide opportunities,
Right. But if we can't change the companies, at least we can change our mindset that apply to the job anyway and see.
For example, I've created job descriptions, and sometimes when I posted about it and calling people to apply, I've posted only women or only black people or only black women. Why? Because we need to give opportunity. We need to open that space to people. And no, come on, technology has a lot of men. That's enough. We don't need more men. We need diversity.
Yeah, I think what everybody said so far with your question, Bruno, all of those things apply. And the side effect of that is actually what a couple of you already said: spooking people away and scaring them away and creating a bad impression as well, because and they don't know what they're doing. That's the impression they're also giving out. And this is a side effect, and they need not know that they're actually ending up doing this. You see, that's the problem there. It's like a blind spot, right? You can't see it unless somebody tells you that. So, but we got to also look at the other side, as Felipe was saying. There's a problem in the industry, and somebody long ago told me, he's from the community. This has been an age-old problem, trying to find the right people for the right job. Hiring is a 50 or 100-year-old problem. It always has been the problem, right? And hence we have all the recruitment services. It has never been better, and it's only getting worse. It's only getting more difficult for companies to find the right people, but also for people to find the right places to go and work. And hence what companies are doing, because hiring business has become so hard, they are merging all the CVs, not CVs, job specs, into one job spec and throwing a blanket out. Whoever we get, we'll take them. Okay. Some of them have the mindset, like Felipe is saying, okay, we'll catch them, we'll train them, right? Some of them say, no, we want them mature. We don't have the time or the budget to train them. So they're going for that. And then some of them are, okay, these are the only people left in the industry because all the big fishes have swallowed all the other talent. okay, we'll just take what we have, and then we'll just recycle them, when we find better people. And so that's where the industry is going. And hence you have job specs where they expect all those talents, and then it's hard to know. And then, okay, what Felipe also said, then they don't want to pay you for it sometimes. They will stall and stall and stall, and they'll only tell you the salary right in the end when you passed your third interview. And now it's a bit too late, right? You spend 3 interviews or 4 interviews chatting to them, and they're giving you some, dreamy picture, but in the end, they want all those.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can reduce your salary or give you an offer that you might feel cornered to take. So
Right.
those are the things that companies are getting onto, because this is a hard market. Companies are not finding the people they want. As a couple of people already mentioned earlier, education, because of lack of it, there's a big gap between skilled labor and non-skilled labor. And so as
Yeah. So money. Yeah. Yeah. We're having the same problem we had yesterday, that you disappear from time to time. So yeah, but that's great, man. Okay, so guys, we're actually getting to the end of the hour here. I want to respect everyone's time here, and that has been an awesome discussion. But Felipe, you want to say? You said you want to say something to Ali. So how about you say that, and then you finish your last thought here.
Okay, so about the question from Ali, how can he choose, right? I think, okay, that the big answer is you can't be such a specialist in all of them. You have to pick one or two. And I think one piece of advice I would give you, Ali, is you need to go where the problems are, when the company's problems are. They if there's a company that is going out now to into new research or new development about AI, go there and go to that company and try to study what they are working with, and try to take a little bit of information about how they work, and try to be close to that company, participate with events and stuff like that, to know how they work, and go there and try to solve their problem, right? And so I would say, focus, not just don't focus on all of them. Is not focus, and focus on one or two competencies or skills, but go where the companies are, go where they are needed most, go where there is an actual problem. So if you see there are companies, I need desperately for DevOps specialists, so go to DevOps. So if you see companies that need desperately about people that know about AI, go there, and go where the most serious and actionable and practical problems are. So that might guide you to where you could go.
Okay, that's awesome, Felipe. Actually, I just realized Mohammed just tell me here that I missed one his comment, and I actually did miss one his comment. So if anyone in the last comments here, you want to comment on what he said in the very beginning, he said, I think quantum computing is a big part of future. I'm not sure if anyone here is familiar with quantum computing, but if anyone want to comment on that, feel free to, right? So how about you, Manny? Do you wanna kind of have a last words here?
Yeah, sure. So, somebody was asking about how do I learn, and I wanted to take the opportunity to say that I always say follow an end-to-end flow and think about cross-cutting concerns, and that way, and also think about the 80-20 rule. Try to make 20% efforts to learn 80% of the topics you need to know. You see, you don't need to master something. Let's say in your lifetime, you only need to know from the 26 alphabets of the language. If you only need to know 10 alphabets or 15, and you'll never ever use the remaining alphabets, then there is no need to spend effort on the remaining alphabets. Learn only the alphabets you think you will need to know. But then how do you know which alphabets you're going to need to know? Follow the end-to-end principle, follow the cross-cutting concerns. How do you do that? You pick up a project which touches pretty much every aspect of that life cycle, right? For example, you want to you want to learn about computing, and you want to learn about web development, you want to include cloud in it, pick up a project where you have to create a web server or a website and host it on AWS or something, some other cloud service provider, and do the whole cycle, writing your code from Git all the way to publishing it using Terraform, Ansible, you name it, configure it on AWS, and document all of that if you want. And if you do this, you're touching all the different aspects of what you need to know and what you want to know and what you want to learn. And then you can specialize on the different components. So, and then if you know this flow very well, you don't need to worry about mastering, because this itself will lead you to the next steps.
Okay. That's awesome. All right. So how about you, Ariane? Do you want to say your last comments there?
Yeah. I thinking I wanna piece of advice too about the thinking and testing future of testing. So my advice is learning about the business application and technical tool, implement your architecture, and suggesting improves and deliver and steps, little steps to improve this. Having one attitude and trying to communicate well if you're our team and share knowledge. When you teach, you learn it too. You find more information about it, and you learn sometimes more than you teach. You should participate more than communities, exchange ideas, and you have many insights to apply in your context. It's amazing. And finally, I think we'll be passionate for that you do and enjoy do this.
Okay, yes, being passionate is an awesome thing, right? It's okay. So just kind of quickly here. So thanks a lot. Ali saying thanks, Felipe, right? So Mohammed is actually saying, thank you, sir. Thanks, everyone. So that's awesome. And then Ali is also saying, great advice, guys. Thanks, Bruno, for organizing these events, and thanks everyone for your time and expertise. So I make my words here. Also, thank you everyone here for that. And so, Bill, I think you're in the crossroads there of the future, right? With cloud, everything that we're doing here, be it artificial intelligence or testing or agile or career, right? Everything crosses the cloud, right? So that's why I'm leaving your advice for the end, right? So what do you tell all of us here that we should be looking at? And I think you're mute, Bill.
Sorry. So the thing that I would say is that the future of work in technology is very bright. There's a space for everybody that wants to get into it. I have no technical training, and now I work at one of the largest open source foundations in the world. So if you want to get in technology, there is a space for you, and go start your learning journey today.
That's awesome, right? So just to answer the very, very last question about quantum computing, since no one took the plunge, right? Manny did put a link on the chat about the future of quantum computing. So thanks a lot, Manny. So thanks, everyone. It was great to have you all here this whole week. Since we're ending the week today, right? Let me kind of give a couple of gifts here for everyone, right? Oh, first, let me share the screen here. Let me just kind of give a couple of gifts here for everyone that's watching us here. First of all, remember that TDC Future you can join TDC Future completely for free, right? So go to ddevconf.com and register and get the Basic Pass International completely free. And you're going to be able to be with all of us here next week and having great discussions. And, we can continue that discussions there. It's going to be awesome to see you all there next week, right? So not only that, during this week, we gave two gifts here for everyone. And so I'm just going to bring that back. One is, we have this series of books, the low-hanging series. Several of the speakers here this week wrote books there. So it's just a series of very short, actionable ebooks. They're going to help you acquire important skills, right? So you have architecture skills, talking and presenting skills, code refactoring skills, Java skills, right? And artificial intelligence skills, right? So you come here to this page, or this QR code here, jav.mn/low hanging books, right? LHB. So come here and you can get all 5 books for completely free for you, right? We also, for the Brazilians, they're worried about their English. I know that's one thing they were talking about, the skills gap. There's a lot of Brazilians are worried about the skill gaps in terms of English, right? So we're going to launch this on TDC next week. It's going to be the Inglesometro, the English meter, right? So if you go to inglesometro.com.br, you can go. That's for the Portuguese speaking, of course. It's going to help you validate where your English is, so to see if you're ready for the future of work, right? Okay. So without further ado, I'd like to thank all of our panelists. That's awesome. We could continue this discussion for a long time, right? It's so great. Even 5 days was not enough, right? We still have more things to say. So thanks everyone. It was great to have you all here. It's amazing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you, everyone.
you.
See you all at TDC next week.
Yes, let's go.
Next week.
Yes, let's continue the conversation next week. Thanks a lot. Thanks for all your time. So there's a good friend of mine, Edson Yanaga, said in a presentation a few days ago, something I'm not sure where he got that from, but he said that the best thing you can give to people is your time, right? It's the most important thing you can give to people. So thank all of you here for giving so much time this week for every one of us here. And thank you that's watching us for being here with us and also giving your time to us. So thanks everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.